by Kimberly Reed, CAE, who is chairman of the Export-Import Bank. Wealth of knowledge and insight and expertise to share with us about the Export-Import Bank's role in boosting the U.S. trade as well as job creation. There's no question that economic development is on the minds of everyone as we're struggling to jumpstart our own economy. So Chairman Reed is an association leader as well as a CAE, and we're so fortunate because she has such deep expertise in government relations as well as association management overall. So what a great combination for our fireside chat today. So I'm going to be turning it over to Chairman Reed. She's going to share with us the global impact of associations and also to help us see even more clearly the role that our association community will play and is playing in the U.S. recovery. So Chairman Reed, welcome.
Why, thank you very much. And it's so nice to be with all of you. I think there are more than 150 of you who RSVP'd. And as Susan mentioned, I am the chairman of the Export-Import Bank of the United States. And I'm so happy that I sit diagonally from the ASAE offices. So I can look out my window here at XM and I can see just almost the office of ASAE, but I know that we're all home and staying safe, and my staff has been teleworking now. I know that we've been doing this since mid-March, 515 of us successfully telecommuting, but they made special accommodations for me to come in today. Our office is also on the northeast corner of Lafayette Park, so we know that there's been a lot of protesting and things around both of our buildings. And I want to say thank you to the police and to the protesters for keeping things safe as we exercise our First Amendment rights, but also as we do this in our lovely nation's capital. So the Export-Import Bank has been around for 86 years, and the job of XM is a great one. Our mission is supporting U.S. jobs by facilitating U.S. exports. And I came from this world, from the world of associations, and so I would like to give a shout out to two people who helped me get involved with ASAE more than a decade ago, Dave Schmidt and Jeff Altman. I'm sure you know who they are, but I'm sitting here today in part because of their support and professional mentorship, but also because of ASAE and all I learned by becoming a certified association executive. I know that we'll talk a little bit more about that, but XM gives financing to help our U.S. exporters of all sizes, from big companies to small companies, compete and win around the world. And we do that through several programs. And I hope that today's session will be a teaser for some of the industry associations on the call today or on the webinar today, so that we can come back with you again on a more personal basis and share with you the tools we have, such as working capital, loan guarantees, direct loans, and insurance. A big thing for small businesses, export credit insurance. And so just really thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much, Chairman Reed. I think you just made this comment, or this is a perfect segue into the first question I have for you, because so many of our associations are small businesses, as you point out, and this pandemic has really hit us hard because we're struggling with the cancellation of meetings and so many of our revenue streams are impacted. So you know all of that, but I want to give you an opportunity maybe to address more fully what the Export-Import Bank is doing in the face of COVID-19.
Absolutely. So for those industries on the call who export, we took some prompt actions. And I remember being questioned about this actually in the prep for my own CAE exam, where a global weather issue, I believe not a global weather issue, a hurricane was the issue on the test for having to shut down conferences. Obviously, this is a global pandemic, but I take a look at what our stakeholders need. And so with our small businesses to export on a daily basis, they need things like supply chain financing and working capital guarantees. And so we took prompt action to increase the coverage percentage of those from 90 to 95%. We also did a couple programs in late March that you can read about on our website, a temporary bridge financing program, progress delivery payment financing, and then of course being very flexible with waivers and deadlines and streamlined processing because we want to not have U.S. exporters worried about XM and what we do here at the government level, but with them being successful with keeping their jobs and ensuring that business is happening as best as we can. And now that we're reopening, we're seeing a big uptick in what we're able to do and how we're able to support
it. Chairman Reed, thank you so much for joining us. For those who I haven't met before, my name is Cunningham. I'm the Vice President of Public Policy at ASAE. And thank you all for joining. I want to note you can share your questions in the Q&A with the panelists. I will read them out loud. We're so glad to have you here today. And I wanted to see if you could share a little bit more about how associations can get involved with XM. How does XM work, and how can associations help you with your mission? And especially, it's so wonderful to have someone who was on the other side, was an association professional, now in the executive branch. So thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, well, so I invite you, we have a great staff. We have an external relations department headed by Luke Lindberg, and I would invite anyone who has the least bit of interest to email external@xim.gov, and we will be responsive as promptly as possible. We work with a lot of industries. We're known as helping the airline industry, for example, equipment manufacturers, but some things that are coming up that might be of interest to XM was reauthorized, a historic 7-year reauthorization in December. And as part of that effort, the Congress and the President gave us a new program to stand up called China and Transformational Exports, recognizing what's happening around the world. And there are 115 export credit agencies. Our job is to help U.S. exporters, but 115 countries around the world are doing that with their own companies. And Congress really challenged us. We adhere to OECD rules. China does not, and so Congress said we are reading and knowing about the Belt and Road Initiative that China is doing. We want to empower XM to help our country better compete. And so we want you, XM, to focus 20% of your $135 billion portfolio or lending authority, 20% of it, or $27 billion, go out around the world, find deals where China's about to sign their name on the dotted line with a foreign purchaser, and if a U.S. company can come in and compete and they meet all the requirements, you can finance up to $27 billion on those terms that China's doing to neutralize them. And so we've recruited a great gentleman, Dave Trulio from the Department of Defense, over to help us with this effort, and Congress outlined 10 areas, and that's why I want to flag these for you, because you've got associations on the phone right now. If you do artificial intelligence or AI, biotechnology, and I come from the world of food and agriculture, being president of the International Food Information Council Foundation. Biotech is a broad segment. Biomedical sciences, my goodness, Mary Kate, you've got so many biomedical science organizations on the phone today, or on Zoom today. Wireless communication / 5G, quantum computing, renewable energy, energy efficiency and storage, semiconductor, emerging fintech, water treatment and sanitation. If you are any of those industries, we are doing targeted programming on those. And so, so June 18th, you can see on our website, we're doing a special program on how to help people in the world of water treatment and sanitation learn about how you can use XM to export what you do. June 25 is emerging fintech. July 9, space technology. July 16th, biotech and biomedical sciences. And July 23rd, semiconductors. So those are going to be very industry specific areas. Because of this program you're doing today, and thank you for giving everyone CAE credit, we want to do a deeper dive of what we're talking about today. And so we'll put out an announcement on that as well. But again, if there are any other industries in our country and you need help exporting, reach out to external@xm.gov and we'll share with you what we do. I've been really working hard with our ag sector and sectors such as 5G and wireless communication.
That's great. Thank you, Chairman. Just diving a little bit deeper into the global scene, obviously in the midst of a global pandemic, it involves the whole globe. So I wonder what your perspective is on global trade, and let's address that maybe from the near term and then medium term, if you can go that far out.
Well, obviously, we care a lot about our global supply chains. XM has been in contact. We have, as I mentioned, 115 export credit agencies around the world. And I would say that we've all really stepped up with these new tools and creative uses within our legislative authority to help provide that liquidity. XM is a tool that was greatly used after the 2008 financial crisis. And so, again, we're seeing our programs needing to be present and available now more than ever. Obviously, USTR Ambassador Robert Lighthizer is an ex officio member of our XM Board of Directors, along with Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross. And we're working really hard, not only to ensure that that we're able to engage in trade best we can, given the circumstances, but also to bring that supply chain back to the United States. So, so we're hopeful that we'll have a strong economic boom as we reopen. And it's also going to make us rethink a lot of our structures, I'm sure. But XM has a very specific role, and that is to equip our exporters.
Chairman Reed, what do you think you learned as an association professional that helps you in your job in government now? We know associations are great at bringing together diverse viewpoints to come up with something to move the industry or profession forward. So how did that help you?
It helped me in so many ways. I can't even begin to tell you. When you have an interview for a job, whether it's in government or not, you look at those core competencies that you require on your CAE exam. And I'm not sure if you're doing one in June 2020. Are you still hosting your exam this month?
We are hosting something. Yeah, we're moving the exam virtually, and Susan can share more about that.
Actually,
okay.
Yes, we are. Yeah, so that it doesn't, people don't have to come to a test site. People can actually now take their test at home. We have a whole new way of proctoring and so forth. So we've come a long way, I'll tell you. So okay. I just want to pop on and answer that question. So I'll pop back on.
Good. I want to give a plug for that, because any time that you can get training to improve your skills, it's a good thing. And so I'm just looking at the core competencies of the CAE exam, and they all tie into being a leader of an association, whether you're in government, where you lead an organization, in the private sector in a business, but absolutely in associations. So strategic management. I came in on day one and took a look at our strategic documents, see where we needed to go with that, governance and structure, membership development. So that's what we're doing today, because I want to help more U.S. companies be successful in the world of exports and in our country. And I know that ASAE represents so many of them. So programs, products, and services, we want to be responsive, just like you are and your members are. We want to be responsive to the U.S. taxpayer and to any business that wants to get into the world of engaging in the global marketplace. Leadership I have to do every day, just like you. And congratulations, Susan. And I had a chance to congratulate you in person. I was really sorry and saddened to see the passing of John Graham, but I know that the organization's in a great great place with your leadership.
Thank you.
Knowledge management and research. I'm just a public policy I do every day with government relations and coalition building, and finally marketing, PR, and communications. Everything that ASAE does and focuses on, I benefited from to help me get where I am today. So take that CAE test, everyone, if you've not yet.
Thank you. I'm sorry my phone is ringing, but I do have a question for you, because one of the things, the reason we're here is obviously to make sure that the government, that our policymakers know how important it is for associations to get some, be a part of the relief packages, such as the Paycheck Protection Program and so forth. We talked this afternoon about that already. And, you know, one of the things that we talk about is how important it is for them to understand the influence and power of associations. So with your GR background, and now with the with the Export-Import Bank, you know, what advice would you have for us to really put a stake in the ground and for our policymakers to know more about associations and their influence?
Well, I'm not allowed to advocate lobbying, so that's my disclaimer. But I would say, as a former Hill staffer now, and then in the world of associations, and now in the executive branch, and I still get, obviously, ASAE's messaging, I think you're doing what you should be doing, which is raising the issues. If you're silent, bills get baked, legislation gets signed into law, and you miss out. And so the most important thing to know is that the legislators that represent each of the associations and all of the, you know, millions of stakeholders that plug up into that know what's happening if we don't have association representation. And obviously the world of 501c3s, they were addressed in the legislation, and I know that ASAE is working hard to address other types of nonprofits, and maybe you could give us all an update on where you are on that. But personally, I was with the C3 and the C6. I served on several C3 boards, and we know how large of an employer base that provides. And if we don't have people working in associations, what does that mean for unemployment? We don't have people representing the views. What does that mean for citizens in our country not having a voice? And so you absolutely do that. And you know, I know that you can't have your in-person annual meeting this year, but Zoom and other things like this still enable you to connect those messages to the lawmakers.
Wonderful. So we've got an audience question from Nate Smith from American Traffic Safety Services Association. He said, Chairman Reed, on behalf of manufacturers of roadway safety and construction devices, I want to thank you for your work in enhancing U.S. manufacturing and exports. It's a crucial tool for exporting life-saving devices which reduce fatalities on roadways across the world. Does the XM Bank have a coalition or business outreach liaison that manufacturers can connect with to partner on policy?
We will call you. Yes, we export anything within limitation. We don't do military weapon export financing, but you know, we make the best products in the world, and we want to not only equip citizens of the United States with our great manufactured equipment, but we want to equip the world with it. And so I think Luke Lindbergh will promptly call you. Luke, I hope you're watching, and we will make sure that you know, safety equipment is important everywhere, and we want the world buying what we make here in this country. So we hope we can help make that possible for you if you need that extra support.
Wonderful.
Thanks. Let me turn the tables a little bit, because sometimes just the opposite. Some people from our sector would like to transition into government service. So you transitioned out now. There might be people who want to do what you're doing. What advice would you have for them if they wanted to transition into government service?
It's a lot of hard work. It's something that you can do. So if you want to be a political appointee versus a career civil servant appointee, two different paths that you take. I've always been a political appointee, so that means getting involved, volunteering, being a competent employee in your job and bringing those job skills to bear. But it takes operating on full throttle, and then also just being able to help the administration understand how you're going to further their goals. Just like when you're interviewing with any job with the CEO, you know, it's what's the mission and how will you help solve that. But I would really encourage volunteer efforts in your free time, and getting to know everyone and being involved. And then when the election happens, if you want to come into the executive branch, there's always this Office of Presidential Personnel. They take on different approaches as technology changes from administration to administration. I was looking back, I served previously at the Treasury Department in the Bush administration, and my application was handwritten and I think probably hand delivered or faxed, I don't recall, but you know, now it's all online. And so I know that the transition team for both campaigns are setting up a process that will take place. I believe they're going to be located at the Commerce Department. You can read about that in the press, but both will get ready. And then whoever is the winner in November, their transition team will do what they can to get everyone plugged in. And it's a lot of work. So then do you want to be a political appointee that's Senate confirmed, which I signed up for? And so then you have to go through the whole Senate process. And I was a nominee for 2.5 years. And I left my job at the International Food Information Council Foundation to be on the Treasury transition team back in after Election Day 2016 through inauguration 2017. And then it takes time to go in and have the conversations with presidential personnel, get selected for the position, then go through the full background check, FBI vetting. So even though all that took place, my nomination was not made known until September of 2017. I had to have 2 hearings, because if you're not confirmed by the end of the Congress, you have to be renominated. And you read about what that process is like, and nominees are not moving at a very quick clip through the Senate. So you need to be ready and prepared if you want to make that public service sacrifice to do that. If you're not Senate confirmed, it can be a little bit faster. And then, of course, if you want to go in as a career civil servant, it's usajobs.gov. That's just executive branch. So legislative branch, for those of you outside of Washington, totally different process. But thank you for asking the question.
It does sound, I would just want to say that we're not encouraging anyone to leave the association community. We want to keep all of our talent. But I do know that question's out there. So it does sound like a job interview, but with a lot of steps afterwards. So I commend you on your accomplishment. That's for sure. So, Mary Kate, I think we have a couple more questions from our audience.
Yes, so we have a question about, first, thanking you for your leadership on behalf of XM. Will, as you know, USTR will be negotiating a free trade agreement with Kenya this summer. What role the bank playing in the process? How can an institution support the process by providing additional comments to USTR?
So XM plays no direct role in those negotiations, but I would say that I've had the U.S. ambassador to Kenya here to visit with me, and I'm deeply engaged not only with Kenya but every country in sub-Saharan Africa. I have a special focus on sub-Saharan Africa. It's such an important part of the world for U.S. exporters. But I know what we see in the press is what I'm able to comment on, and that we are engaged. And I'm so glad Ambassador Lighthizer is helping to lead the way with that. And I guess that's all I really can have to say, other than we want to help export even more to Kenya. So if we have any organizations on the Zoom right now, and you represent companies that hope to export to places like Kenya or sub-Saharan Africa, we're here to help.
Great, good advice. Do you have time for one more question?
I sure do.
Great. Okay, there's this one from our audience. The question is, once COVID is behind us, what are XM's biggest priorities to help the U.S. and world economies recover to pre-COVID status?
So we come in and provide things like working capital loan guarantees, direct lending, but we're known as the lender of last resort. So basically, if you are a foreign purchaser of a U.S. good and you want to buy made in USA, you go through the normal processes. And if you are from a country that's a little bit more challenging, the financial institutions are overextended in your country, you, along with the U.S. seller, come to Ex-Im and make an application. And so we're starting to see an uptick of these types of requests to help provide liquidity and also provide export credit insurance. So if you're a small business and you're wanting to send things to a foreign country and things are kind of difficult right now, we provide that insurance in case things don't go well to help the small businesses. So we're cranking along, staff of 400 career staff and 115 contractors helping us do this all virtually. And so we're going to be there in every way possible as we get through COVID and beyond. Ex-Im has the ability, as I mentioned, to support $135 billion in financing at any one time. And because our board was not confirmed for 2.5 years and Ex-Im essentially was shut, except to small deals during the time without a board, right now we have about $50 billion on our books. So we have a long ways to go to support all of that much in exports. And now that we have a role to play to go into places where China is, we're raising awareness with organizations like ASAE and all of your members to say, come talk to us. It's a new day for us, and we really want to help all of our companies succeed in our country.
Chairman Reed, I've got one question for, we had a request for any of your newsletters we can share with the audience. We can send any resources out to all of our attendees.
That's great. So we'll help get all of that connected up to you. Thank you.
Is there one piece of information you want to leave associations professionals with?
I think just do your best every single day. Challenge yourself to innovate at all times. I'm new to Zoom and to all of the technology that's taken place over the past few years. You really need to be cutting edge. I know that's why your annual conference is so important, as well as all of your programming. Keep abreast of all of that and innovate. I know when I was in the world of associations, membership was a challenge for some associations because companies are all about the bottom line and how can you provide value. And so I know that you all know how that's happening for various industries, and it's sharing that best practice with each other. And I also think the way you bring together all the segments to run an association and sharing the latest and greatest. I learned from that. I brought that thinking into government, and hope to continue doing that in every way I can, as well as being engaged with you. Thank you.
That's terrific. Thank you. Are there any other questions from our participants? Let me see what we've got here before we let you go, and I promise to let you go. Here's one. Do you have time for one more, Chairman Reed?
I sure do.
Okay, you're great. Thank you. Thank you. The question is, are there any key indicators or metrics that Ex-Im uses to analyze economic impact?
Oh, we just went out with a big economic impact and additionality public comment period and came back in to see what difference we're making when it comes to U.S. jobs. Also that we're not competing with sectors within our own country. And so when you look at an export, you have to ask a lot of important questions, and those are immense. So you want to, first of all, do no harm when you're helping support one company over others. And we have a very detailed process for that analysis. And if anyone would really like to read it, take a look at our press releases on our website. Very lengthy process to do all of that. But then also we need to make sure that we're doing things like not displacing the private sector. And Exim has its critics. I'm a conservative Republican, and it's the conservative Republicans who were critics of the bank, not of me personally, but they really wanted to make sure that we don't compete with the private sector. And so I pledged 6 key reforms. I did that under oath to Senator Pat Toomey of Pennsylvania. I've been working really hard, and ASAE has taught me that how you transform and get to a new place. So we want to do all we can to ensure that the private sector is not getting hurt by what we do. And if we have any financial institutions on the phone on the Zoom right now, or anybody who feel like we're unfairly competing with you, you let me know, because we won't do that. And that's my pledge. But success, I believe, is measured once you get past these hurdles of should we actually vote on a deal favorably. It's then when you look at doing what we did recently, which was a $4.7 billion deal, sale of $4.7 billion of equipment from key states to the country of Mozambique to help Mozambique build an LNG facility to transform their country and become more independent and self-sufficient. But that's tied to U.S. jobs, thousands and thousands of U.S. jobs. And you have to look at the whole context, because the world is a competitive global marketplace. And I mentioned that there are 115 export credit agencies, or EXIMs, in the world, and they each come with their own tool. And I would say U.S. EXIM, most transparent, most paperwork, most protect the taxpayer focused of all of them, because that's important to our Congress. It's important to me, but we want to help our workers and our companies succeed. And so when you're a foreign purchaser, you've got the world to pick from. And why should you pick the United States over other countries? And I believe it's because of the quality of the products that we make and the transparency that our government operates in. And so in the end, when we support a transaction, it's tied to U.S. jobs, and that's everything we do. It's not anything other than we're helping our companies succeed. And for all those small businesses out there, the world is outside of our borders, and it's probably daunting to figure out, how do I go from being a domestic focused company to an international company? And so we're there to help you figure that out. We also do something called delegated lending authority to financial institutions across our country, 90 of them, so that they can help as well. And just last week, I had the pleasure of going to the National Credit Union Association in Alexandria and signing an MOU with Rodney Hood, who's the chairman of NCUA, to help our credit unions also learn about how they can use EXIM tools when a customer walks in the door and they want to figure out what's it take to export, that they can help them directly, or if they can't, they can point them to EXIM to be of help.
I tell you, I don't know about anybody else, but I certainly feel very confident that you have brought all of your advocacy and GR skills to the table in making sure that the U.S. is well represented on a global basis. So kudos to you, and thank you for the strength of that message and really the pride that I think you give us in how the United States is welcome. It's nice, or is received. It's nice to hear you talk about quality as being kind of the hallmark of boosting our U.S. trade and jobs. So that means a lot to us, and it's certainly great to have the automatic perspective in your mind of how all of this translates to or relates to association management and skill sets that we all have. So Chairman Reed, I want to thank you for your time, and pending any other questions, I'm looking. Mary Kate, do you have anything else before we close?
No, I think we look forward to having the chairman back at ASAE in person when that is appropriate.
Yes.
Walk across the street, but we'll definitely share any resources with our attendees.
We sure will. And thank you so much for your time and your expertise, Chairman Reed. We really value it.
Well, I thank you for all you do, and thanks to all of your members. And I know we're going to get through this COVID crisis, and look forward to engaging further. Everyone, have a great day, and thank you again for inviting me. And congratulations on your 100-year anniversary. Great
My
accomplishment.
goodness. Thank you. You know so much about us. We're very flattered, Chairman Reed. Have a wonderful afternoon and thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.